back. Jury selection begins on Monday in our next big trial, and it is a big one. The Dentist Mastermind Murder Trial out of Tallahassee, Florida. This is the Charlie Adelson final pretrial hearing, which took place today. He is accused of orchestrating the murder of his former brother-in-law, very popular Florida state law professor named Dan Markel. At the time, Markel was involved in a nasty child custody battle with Adelson's sister. We're going to take you into this morning's court hearing where both sides finalized some trial details. Take a listen.
We're on the record in case number 2016 CF 3036B, State of Florida versus Charles Adelson. And we're here this morning before the final pretrial before the start of jury selection. Counsel for the parties can make their appearances.
Georgia Kappelman for the state.
Daniel Ratschbaum and Kate Myers on behalf of Mr. Adelson, who's present.
All right. Good morning, everyone. Let's go ahead and start with each party respectively. Ms. Kappelman, is the state ready to move into jury selection on Monday?
Yes, Your Honor.
Is the defense ready to move into jury selection on Monday?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. As far as some of what we discussed during the pretrial motion hearings on the 9th concerning the individual voir dire, do the parties wish to hear the questions the court is going to inquire of prospective jurors?
Yes, Your Honor.
Very well. Essentially, the setup would be that we have 50 jurors that are going to be brought into the courtroom on Monday morning. I am going to qualify them directly and here, and from there, the jurors one by one are going to be brought to us as a group to go through the individual voir dire. The questions that will be asked by the court will be, what do you know about this case? What sources have you obtained this knowledge from? Based on what you know, do you have an opinion about Mr. Adelson's guilt or innocence? Can you set aside any present knowledge, disregard it, and render a verdict solely on the evidence that is presented in the courtroom? Are you capable of being fair and impartial? Do you have any reason that will prevent you from serving on this jury for potentially 3 weeks, directly addressing hardship?
Okay, that was this morning. The judge going over what they'll ask those potential jurors as jury selection starts next week. Let's do this. Let's get you caught up on this case, and then we'll talk about it. And to do that, let's turn to legal correspondent Julia Janae.
To this day, do you think he's guilty?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you believe that he should be prosecuted for his involvement in the murder of Dan Markel?
Yes, ma'am.
That's Catherine McBanawa talking about her ex-boyfriend, Charles Adelson, during her murder trial for the death of Florida state law professor Dan Markel.
Do you think he should come forward and let the jury know that you had nothing to do with this?
Yes, ma'am.
It was McBanawa's second trial for Markel's death after a jury deadlocked in her first trial in 2019. The second time around, a jury rejected her claims of innocence.
The defendant is guilty of first-degree murder.
Now, Florida prosecutors are setting their sights on Charlie Adelson, Markel's former brother-in-law.
What enemy or enemies had Mr. Markel made that set into motion such a brutal act? The answer, his own family.
It would take 8 years for prosecutors to bring a case against Adelson to a grand jury, despite early suspicions of his possible involvement. Markel was involved in a bitter child custody dispute with Adelson's sister, Wendy, when he was gunned down in his driveway in 2014. Wendy Adelson testified that there was ill will between her ex-husband and her brother.
He had bought me a TV when I got divorced and said it was a present and made a very bad joke and bad taste that it was cheaper than hiring a hitman.
But prosecutors say Adelson did hire hitmen with McBanawa's help. Sigfredo Garcia, the father of McBanawa's children, and Luis Rivera, a gang member and friend of Garcia's. Rivera pleaded guilty in exchange for testimony implicating Garcia as the gunman and McBanoa as the link to the Adelson family.
I gave him the truth, bro. I'm not gonna go back and forth with you, man. I gave him the truth. Like, it was Katie and Garcia. It was all three of us was involved.
Investigators used a sprawling web of surveillance video, wiretaps, and cell tower data to connect a vehicle that was leaving the crime scene to Garcia and Rivera. Connecting McBanoa to the plot would prove more difficult because she wasn't involved, according to McBanoa's lawyers.
It wasn't through Catherine McBanoa. This wasn't something that was negotiated through Catherine McBanoa. It was about her. The communications that we have between Sigfredo Garcia and Charles Adelson in the weeks before the murder, in the days before the murder, are consistent with the fact that there was a deal between the two of them, and part of that deal was Charles Adelson breaking up with Catherine so that Sigfredo could get back the woman that he loved so much.
What's different now? Leon County prosecutors say they have a new version of secretly recorded video showing McBanoa and Adelson in a restaurant in 2016 with enhanced audio.
If a badge comes up to you, tell them have a nice day, officer. Listen, if they want to charge you with something, charge me. If not, I don't talk to cops.
Prosecutors showed the video to the jury in McBanoa's retrial and to the grand jury that indicted Charles Adelson.
The piece of evidence was something that I did think was important, and I've always felt like if we could just get that clarified, that would make a big difference potentially in the case, so I was really happy to have that piece of evidence to present to the grand jury.
Charles Adelson now faces the same charges that McBanoa was convicted of: first-degree murder, conspiracy to commit murder, and solicitation to commit murder. Adelson has pleaded not guilty and maintains his innocence.
All right, again, that pretrial hearing today, they're mapping out the jury selection process. And Charlie Adelson will be going to trial starting next week. Our cameras are there. We're ready to roll in Tallahassee. Catherine McBanoa, we saw her being tried twice here on Court TV. A lot of you thought that maybe that she was not guilty. The first jury was hung. And the question always was during the McBanoa shows, what about the Adelsons? What about Charlie? And well, here we are. It is time for Charlie to stand trial. And again, that will happen on Monday with jury selection, expecting opening statements later in the week, and we'll be there for it all.